One of the most exhausting things in life is building a life based on the hope of getting approval from somebody or people. You're building a life hoping people will approve of it, but the life you're building isn't authentic to you and who you actually want to be or who you want to actually live as. And I'm not talking about the big decisions like the person that you marry or the career that you have. I'm talking about the tiny ways that you show up or don't show up based on seeking external validation for who you are showing up as. The outfit that you don't wear because what if people think you look weird? The post that you delete because it didn't get enough likes? The opinion you swallowed because maybe it's not the status quo? Yes, seeking approval for the big decisions in your life is stupid, but also seeking advice for the tiny ways you're trying to show up every single day. Because what happens when you're showing up for a person or a version of them you think they want to see, you are now editing yourself, you're proofreading yourself, you're now submitting yourself for approval every single day. And what happens when you do this? You live a watered down version of yourself and you feel restless and frustrated and out of alignment because you are out of alignment. You are not living as who you truly want to live as. There's that tiny little nudge and urge in you every single day to be somebody else, but you don't know if that version of you is approved yet. You don't know if that version of you will get approved. So you mask yourself into a version of yourself that already has proof that it has been validated. That version of you that you've outgrown and you know you've outgrown has been approved by people. That version of you, that life that you live, that you've outgrown, is still comfortable and still your safety zone because it has been approved by your friends, your family, the outside world. You're comfortable in that version of yourself because it's been validated. The new version of you that you want to be, the real, aligned, authentic version of you, has yet to be approved. It's yet to be validated. So it does not feel safe yet for you to jump into her. But I am giving you the permission, not that you need my permission, but I am telling you that you've got to just jump into her without validation or approval. As long as you're approving of her and you're validating her, that's all that matters. And trust me when I say once you start doing that, other people will follow suit. Because the truth is, the only opinion that sticks, that actually sticks, is your own. Think about every embarrassing moment you have ever had in your life that you still replay. Before you go to bed, you're wondering if that time you fell 10 years ago is still being laughed at by other people. No, they're not. They're not laughing at you. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that much, and you have to not care that much either. Everybody has moved on. They went home, they had dinner, and they went to bed. You cannot keep these moments in your life rotating and playing like a song on loop. In those moments that you keep doing those things, in those moments where you keep trying to figure out if that person likes you or if they approve of you, what if you're making the wrong decision and what if you look stupid at the end and it doesn't work out and you have to sort of walk back in with your tail between your legs. Who cares? The moment your brain decides that it matters, it matters. So just make these things not matter. Get your compass to dial inward. I always talk about this because it literally is the key to life. Stop dialing your compass outward. Who actually cares if somebody approves of what you do or not? It literally does not matter. I do not let anybody in my life, and I used to be this way, so trust me, I'm not judging. I am telling you from experience that it is the worst way to live. When you are constantly seeking approval for the things that you know you want to do, but you're just trying to get them validated so they feel a little less scary. They're going to be scary no matter what because it's new, it's different, and it's changed. But if it's something that keeps nudging at you, screaming at you, you do the thing. Do you think I looked mentally stable when I decided to move to England randomly after just starting to get a full-time income? I'm pretty sure I had like $10,000 in my bank account and I was like, I'm moving to England. I didn't look mentally stable. I looked a little bit confused, okay? I was like, what is this girl doing? And then when I came back from England, and then I didn't come immediately back to Canada after moving to England, I packed up my England apartment and then I went to Africa for 3 months. Did that look mentally stable? No, it did not. And then I moved back to Canada. And again and again and again, my life has continued to work out for me. No matter the crazy move that I make, do you think people around me think I'm sane? No, they don't. But does my life still work out and look amazing and feel amazing and is actually amazing? Yes. So the only opinion that matters is your own. As long as you are making decisions fully backing yourself and fully in self-trust, you will always make the right decision. Even if it becomes something that didn't work out, that is a lesson. Your brain is a personal PR manager, okay? It is either looking at things you do, saying, look at me, I'm so proud of me, look at me go, I love the decisions that I make, I'm so good at life, or it's looking at you and saying, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't shouldn't have worn that. Nobody complimented me on my outfit. That must mean that it's an awful outfit. And that PR manager, guess what? She is your self-concept. And your self-concept is the climate in which you experience everything, everyone, and everyone experiences you through. So stop asking yourself, what do they think of me? And start asking yourself, what do I think of me? What do I think of the choices I'm making? What do I think about the way I'm showing up every single day? What do I think of who I am? Because those people that you keep asking, what do you think about me? What about the things that I'm doing? What do you think about the things that I'm doing? What do you think about this decision I think I'm going to make? They are going to give you a completely biased response that is going to have nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. 99% of the time, somebody else's opinion is not a true reflection of them taking into consideration everything that is you, okay? No one will ever know you better than you know yourself. So when someone is trying to give you an opinion on your life, on a decision, on the way you look, on the way you carry yourself, whatever it is, they are coming from a biased place made up of three things. The first one is their own projections, like their own wounds. What have they been through? Their trauma. What is the lens they are seeing the world through? Number two, their personal beliefs and their personal values. And number three, what they would do in this situation. Okay, let's say you and your boyfriend just had a fight and you are looking for advice on what to do. You go to your sister who is single, who is a chronic man hater, and who never wants to get married. What do you think her advice is going to be for what you should do? She's going to tell you, leave that man. You don't need no man. She's going to start going on a man-hating tirade, and she's going to tell you that it's no use in working it out. You've had one fight and it's never going to work and you should just ditch the entire man. That is going to be her advice. She might love you. She might want the best for you, but she is giving you advice based on her own personal lens, okay? So is the advice and the opinion of others really in your best interest? No. The only reason you feel comforted or validated by other people and their opinion and their advice is because you trust them more than you trust yourself. And that is the root cause. You need to start having so much self-trust that the only opinion that matters is your own, because the only person you trust fully and reliably is yourself. You never know what angle somebody is giving you advice from. You will never know, because like I said earlier, no one will ever know you the way you know you, because you are 1,000 different versions to 1,000 different people. The way, again, based on how they're viewing the world and based on how their perception is shaping you in their mind. Again, because perception is reality. So no one is ever going to share the exact same view of the world, the same beliefs, the same values, and the same perception of reality as you do. So what makes you think that their perception of you and the decisions you're making is actually aligned with who you know you are, who you know you want to be, and the life you know you want to live? It simply just does not add up. And here's the thing nobody wants to hear, but is the biggest truth of life. You will always be misunderstood, you will always be judged, and you will always be not liked by somebody. There is not one person on this earth who is loved by every single person and is actually being their authentic self, because you cannot be who you fully are in truth, in your soul, in your bones, and have every single person like you. It's just undeniably unrealistic. So instead of trying to do that, which is so much extra work, just be who you are fully and let people who align with you naturally come to you. And this is why when people live their life worrying about what other people think versus what they actually think, they are truly miserable individuals. They are people pleasers. They have no boundaries. They worry about other people's problems, focus on other people's problems, and trying to clean up their mess for them instead of worrying about their own self. Their life is in shambles. They go to bed every single night sad and overthinking and with anxiety, not being able to sleep because they are so restless in their soul. Their soul is screaming out for them to be who they actually are and not live a life based on what other people think, but they don't listen and they are truly miserable. And I truly believe this is why in this day and age, media like movies, TV shows, influencers, like really don't like that word, people online who create content who are liked by a lot of people, they are truly not showing up as themselves. Why? Because everybody has an opinion. Everybody is so scared of being canceled, of saying the wrong thing because that person is going to hate me. And we're literally seeing people with zero personalities because we have made people so scared of being themselves and condemning them that people are just trimming off all the best parts of them, their quirks, what makes them weird, what makes them a little bit controversial and a little bit polarizing, and making each other just molds of the perfect person. That's why TV shows suck now, because the characters lack personality. People that you watch online lack personality. They are the most boring people, no shade, but they're the most boring people because they're trying to come off perfect. They've trimmed off all the parts of them that literally make them magnetic. The movies that we watch, they're so boring. The storylines, like who watched Oxford Year? Okay, I watched that movie and that was just a personality mind bomb. If more people just started being who they were unapologetically, people would naturally conform to that because everybody mirrors what you are mirroring to yourself. The way people treat you is the way you are treating yourself, and not even treating yourself, the way you are showing up for yourself. An example of this would be Molly May. I love Molly May, okay? I really do think, like, I watch her videos all the time, but she is somebody who has curated this platform of people who are so judgmental of her because she is very judgmental of herself. She is terrified of being canceled. She's terrified of saying the wrong thing. She's always editing herself and proofreading herself, and she shows up probably not as who she really is in real life. And it's because every single thing she does gets criticized. Why? Because she's going into the world with that energy. She is very, very cognizant, and she's made it a very big point in her reality to proofread herself and edit herself. So naturally, people are going to be hyper fixated on every single word she says, every single thing she does. But that's obviously a macro example of somebody putting their life online. This I'm talking about in daily life. If you just fully showed up as who you were, unapologetically, didn't care what anybody thought about the way you lived your life, but you truly had conviction in the way you were living and you felt so good about it and you're doing it from a pure place, you truly are not hurting anybody, everybody would mirror that same energy back to you. Started doing content creation. When I first started making a little bit of erratic decisions, and not erratic in a bad way, just like decisions that are unconventional to people. And most people don't agree with the way that I live my life, which is fine. My life works for me, but it's really not like I'm doing anything crazy. It's just I make decisions that are just not conventionally thought of as normal or of sane thinking. When I first started living this way, I was very scared about what I was doing. I didn't have trust in myself. I couldn't really see the evidence of my life taking form yet. So it's not like I had evidence of my crazy actions taking form and actually proving to me like, hey, this is still working out. So I was still very apprehensive. When people asked me what I did for work, I would come up with a very elaborate way of saying content creation or I do, social media. I would come up with ways that sounded a little bit more palatable. Like people would be like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like totally hear you. That makes sense. Instead, when I say content creator now, people's faces are like, oh, and does that bother me? Not at all, because it's literally what I do and I have no shame in it. I love what I do and I'm good at what I do and successful at it. When I was showing up in that energy in my career was absolutely not even a career. It was just a quiet cricket zone, okay? There was nothing happening in my career because I was showing up with this apprehensive, awkward, sort of embarrassed energy that, oh my God, I'm like actually doing this. Content creator, this is a little bit cringy. This is weird. What are people gonna think? I'm Indian. Nobody has done this before. Like, this is weird. And now when I show up in conviction with what I do, because I'm obsessed with it and I actually trust myself and I have evidence of that, and I just totally tuned into that reality and that authentic. Now the conversations I have about content creation are amazing. I tell people and they're like, oh my God, tell me more. People are excited because I'm excited, because I'm not showing up embarrassed about myself anymore. So nobody's gonna mirror that energy back to me. When you decide that what you do is not up for debate, you actually start to inspire people. People that you thought were judging you actually start to be a little bit inspired by your decisions, by what you're doing. You truly don't know who you're inspiring when you're just being yourself and being authentically you. And if that's just wearing the funky outfit that you want to wear, that is being true to yourself, and somebody's going to look at you and feel inspired like, wow, they're showing up as who they are. I feel like I want to do that. And then you sort of create that ripple effect. And again, I'm going back to, in this society, in the day and age we live in, it is so normalized to be bland, to be boring, and be like everybody else, because everybody is so scared that their personality is too much, that they're not wearing just minimalistic clothing, the black, white, and nude. So when you just show up as who you are going to create an effect in the world, and it might be this big, but it is going to change the way people show up for themselves just by witnessing you show up authentically for yourself. And this is where it gets so exciting, because now that you approve of yourself, yourself. Your career choices aren't up for debate. Your life choices aren't up for debate. Who you want to marry isn't up for debate. Who you're dating isn't up for debate. Everything, your style choices, the way you do your makeup, the way you do your hair, none of it is up for debate. The way you live your life. I'll give you another example because this is something I've grown into in the last year. I am naturally a very laid back person. I used to think I was type A, but I was just in survival mode. I am genuinely a very laid back person, and I'm usually the type of friend or the type of family member who's just going with the flow, and I'm allowing my other type A family members or my other type A friends to dominate the situation more because I just truly could care less. That is something that I have now started to accept. Like, I truly don't care where we're going or what we're doing as long as we're having fun, right? As long as the energy is good, that's all I care about. Another thing, I am not, like I said, I'm not type A. So in my environment, I like things clean and organized, but I'm not extremely anal or fixated on it. Can my apartment look like a frat house if I don't feel like I want to clean? Absolutely. Sometimes I look around and I feel like I'm in my university apartment again. But does that bother me? No, it doesn't. Do people know that about me now? And do I feel convicted in that? Like, yes, okay. Sometimes my microwave won't be cleaned, and that's just what we're gonna accept. And before I used to be embarrassed, like people were judging me, and they were because I was judging myself. But now that I'm like, yeah, that's just, it is what it is. Not Friday. I'm not doing my Sunday clean yet. I'm not doing my Friday reset. So you're going to find a bit of chicken splatter in that microwave if you opened it up on a Wednesday. That is how you have to live your life. Stop making decisions based on what looks right or what people will approve of. Stop making micro adjustments to who you are based on what you think other people are going to approve of. If you went up to your mom right now and said like, oh, this is the person I'm dating, you're perceiving that she won't approve, or you're perceiving that it just won't go over smoothly, and then you go tell her and you're like, and this is just what it is. I don't know, what you want me to tell you. Most likely she will approve of it and she will come around, because most of the time people don't actually care that much about what you're doing. It's the fact that you're putting so much emphasis on people caring that they actually care. Now, I got to put a bit of a disclaimer in there. This is not to say you're going to be acting reckless and rude. It's not about ignoring constructive feedback. Like, if my dad calls me and tells me like, hey, I don't know if that's the best thing, I will consider it. I will really sit there and consider it. I won't be rude and be like, oh my God, I don't need to hear about what you have to say. No, never. Cannot be disrespectful like that. I will genuinely consider the feedback. It truly is coming from a different perspective. Like, okay, I always like to hear different perspectives. Let me sit with this, and then I'll come up with my choice. It's more about knowing that your inner yes or your inner no are more important than the crowd's approval. So if your inner being is saying absolutely yes, go for it, do it, it feels good, it feels aligned, but the crowd's opinion is going to be no, that does not matter. Like I said, if my dad came to me and said, hey, I think you should consider this, and I consider it and I sit with it, but I'm still getting that inner yes and it just feels aligned, I am going to do what I'm going to do regardless. But if he tells me to consider a different perspective and then I sit with it and I am sort of leading toward that inner no, that's when I might adjust my choice. It's not that I'm now changing what I want to do because of his opinion. It's that I'm considering a different perspective and allowing it to sit in my body and settle to where I'm coming up with the ultimate final decision. When you know who you are, when you know your standards, when you know your boundaries, you simply just live by them. You don't feel the need to explain yourself anymore. You just live naturally who you are and the things you want to do, and other people align. Watch me when I tell you that. Other people align to the way you are showing up for yourself, the way you are being, and what you're projecting in the world. If you're showing up with confused, validating, attention-seeking energy, you are naturally going to be placed in experiences and situations with people who trigger that feeling in you, who trigger that feeling of approval, who actually start to disapprove of you. Notice how when you start approving of yourself, people start approving of you. Notice how when you're disapproving yourself, when you're constantly confused or conflicted about what you should be doing and you're in this unsure energy, you will be placed in situations with people who will magnify that. The real magic of not giving an F is not becoming cold or detached. It's simply becoming selective. It's saying that you're giving your energy to things that light you up. You're giving your care to people that pour you back up. You're giving focus to the life you're building authentically, not the one other people think you should be living. You are not going to be walking around with no feelings and not caring. You're just simply not handing out free rent in your head to the opinions of others, to people whose opinions don't actually reflect or align with your values. So when you catch yourself spiraling into what will they think, pause and ask yourself, do I like how I'm showing up right now? What do I think about what I'm doing? Would I respect myself in this moment? That question alone will change your life. Now I'm always giving you a game plan, so here is the actual action steps you're going to take. This is going to retrain your approval system. So the first step is to do a daily self-audit. At the end of your day, maybe journal or think about this for a few minutes while you're doing your nighttime routine and ask, did I make choices that I'm proud of today? If the answer is yes, great. If the answer is no, we don't need to be spiraling. Just notice where you outsourced your approval and then just pull it back tomorrow. Step 2 is every single day you are going to do one thing that is a self-first action. So that's wearing the outfit, that's posting the picture, the content, that's speaking your opinion. Step 3 is a big one. It's a biggie, and that is to clean up your environment. If your environment is full of people who criticize, who judge, who gossip, who undermine you, who are constantly trying to be the devil's advocate and, throw a negative your way, that is important information, and that is not conducive to this rewiring. Your brain is naturally going to crave their approval. So it's important that in the beginning you reduce that noise because you need a clean slate to rewire, and then you can introduce these people back into your life, and the way you show up differently will naturally cause them to show up differently. Number 4 is keeping an evidence bank, okay? So get your notes app and just write in evidence, and then every single day that you do something that you're proud of yourself for doing, the way that you showed up differently, the way that you spoke your opinion in that meeting, write it down so that you're documenting your wins. And this is where you build that proof because you're now seeing real-time evidence of where you trusted yourself and it actually paid off. And that sets you up perfectly for the positive feedback loop. And I will leave you with this because it's something I had to know and it's something that you should know as well. When you start showing up for yourself and you stop performing for other people, the people who actually matter will not go away. Just because you've stopped performing for them, they will not go away. They will adjust to your new self. They will adjust to the real you because they love you and they actually care about you. People that do disappear or they start to have a problem with it were never clapping for you anyway, so you don't even need them in your life. They were only clapping for the version of you that made them comfortable. So starting today, worry about what you think about you, not what they think about you. Because that right there is the foundation of what a good life is built on. And if you want to know how to start that good life and get into the quarter 4 rebranding mode, watch this video next.